The sun is shining here in Cape Town at the Netball World Cup. It's very rare that I get a morning off here at the World Cup, but today I'm on a lounger, I'm relaxing, and who better to spend some time with than chatting to Norma Plummer, aka Coach Plum. Norma Plummer, the legend, you've won everything as a player and a coach, and now you're back here for South Africa in Cape Town.
Yes, I am actually, and didn't anticipate doing my sixth World Cup, but the way things had fallen, and I got the phone call, would I please come back? Because it had been 2.5 years since 2019, since I'd handled the team. But I do have a connection to them, and I do have a connection to the players, and they were asking me to come back as well. So here I am.
Well, you say the players were asking you to come back. When I first started playing, I used to be so scared of you. You had this game face, and I was like, oh, no messing with Norma Plummer. But you're right, the players have such a warmth, and you're such a lovely person.
Well, it's not so much. I used to laugh because New Zealand used to say, oh, she never smiles. And I think I'm in a game against the Kiwis. We're going goal for goal, and they want me to sit there and smile? Like, serious, what are you on about? It's like, no, that's just my thinking face, And so, but with the Proteas, you got to look at, when you're coaching Australia, there's a lot of personalities there, and you really got to be on the front foot. But with South Africa, it's different. You learn that about the culture for a start off, and it's no use me going a hard hand on some of them because it wouldn't work. But where with the Aussies, some of them may have needed it at that time, and plus whatever all of the support around the Australian team is not quite the same in South Africa, which they do a great job trying to produce, but it's history from Australia on the way it's run.
Well, we talk about Australia, and I hear you're quite good friends with Eddie Jones.
Well, yeah, funny story with Eddie. I wouldn't say like, we're not buddies that we're talking every day, but I'd started at the Australian Institute of Sport back in 1999 as head coach of the netball program, and I think it was 12 months down the track, and I get this phone call, and I answered the phone, and this chap said, oh, is that you, Norma? And I said, yes. And he said, oh, it's Eddie Jones here. Now, I knew Eddie Jones was coaching the Brumbies at the time. And, but I thought, Trent, stop it, because my strength and conditioning coach used to ring up making out he was all these different people all the time. So, of course, I've gone, I'll cut it out, and there's dead silence. And then he said, no, it's Eddie Jones here. I had to apologise because, as I said to him, it just sounded like Trent, our strength and conditioning coach. And I was very impressed with the way he was thinking, because he'd read where I was David Parkin, top AFL coach in Melbourne, had written about me in a book, and he was reading that book, which had different coaches and their philosophies and stuff. So he wanted to come over and have a chat. So I said, yeah, sure. And him and Ewan Mackenzie came in, and we talked about, what is the most important thing for me, with my coaching. And I said to him, well, I'm big on options, because you can have one style, but if you get beaten on that style and your players can't identify change on court, you're in strife. You can be 5 goals down within 2 seconds. And that's one of the hardest things you can ever teach players, because they get remote control sometimes. And I said to him, so we play a different lot of, practices at different types of, whether it's a sag back, whether it's a zone, whether it's one-on-one, we're setting that up all the time. So hopefully it's starting to sink in when it's all of a sudden they're faced with it. And so I was quite impressed, because he went around to other coaches, of course, at the AIS, and then he went in because he got the Australian job. So that's really good, because I think he was just taking ideas from other, top coaches and Olympic coaches towards getting that job.
Yeah, well, you've been likened to Sir Alex Ferguson, and you talked about Eddie Jones, and do you, as a kind of a lead coach in the world, talk to other sports and codes to kind of get ideas from and learn from each other?
Oh, well, when you were at the AIS, you had it at your doorstep. And I am in what they call the coaches, the Rat Pack group. It's all these guys and me. But, you know, you had some brilliant coaches there. So, yeah, we'd often, I could sit down and talk to any of them at the time and just get ideas and feed off, you know, different things they would do and different approaches. So, oh, yeah, it was a luxury. I loved working there. And 13 years I was there. It was great.
Nice. Well, obviously you've worked with Australia and you're now with South Africa. Being at the World Cup, there's so many different styles of play from all the different countries. What would you say is your favorite?
Oh, I still like the one-on-one and the hard yak, you know, the Australian way. Brought up in it, played it myself as a player and coached it. And I think it just wears down the opposition. But, you know, I value other, like New Zealand zone when they put it on, like quad series when I came back and hadn't handled the team. We went into the quad series. Well, our first game was pretty bad against the Kiwis. I think we lost by 20 goals in one quarter, and that was the third quarter, and they went, wang, here's the zone. And quite a lot of these kids had never faced it before, but I hadn't had time to even introduce it into training. So, you know, but, you know, and then the last quarter, a bit of feedback, and they did well and drew with them, like that 11-all, I think it was, in the last quarter. So that's what I love about the talent is, you know, you see it ooze here, and they need the feedback. You give them the feedback, and they really go out and try and produce it. So that gives me a lot of enjoyment, you know. I just enjoy coaching and just watching the rise. And South Africa, in the first stint that we did from 2015 to 19, the rise in that team was just an absolute delight. And to only lose by 2 goals against Australia, we would have played in the gold medal match. The bronze game against England, they'd given me all they had, and yeah, we didn't stand up as well and for the bronze medal game, but they put so much in right up till then because we had to get over Jamaica, and we did. And like that was the biggest buzz. If we hadn't got over Jamaica, we'd been strife. Yeah.
Well, that was phenomenal. I remember standing in the sides watching it and just seeing how it just lifted and how the energy was there with the South African team. They just really warmed to you. What's it like? You know, like I was saying at the start, I was quite intimidated by you, but on the sideline and in the quarter times, you're quite direct and to the point, but
Yeah.
you'll still do it with a warm heart.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's about giving the direction. As you'll notice, I never sit there and write all the things that I've got. If I started doing it, I wouldn't be watching the game. It all goes in here, and I think that's the fact that I was playing coach for so many years. You're taking it on board, but I like to target what is breaking down immediately and the area it's breaking down, and then you've got your assistant coaches. They can give a bit of that individual, but it's got to pull the whole team into understanding how we got to have a change up, and you know, you can't keep hammering into that one position where you're losing the ball all the time, or got to change up the leads, got to change up whether we swing it, we overload it, open it up. So there's all those sort of feedback that you've got to pull them out of it. And as I say, that's when players don't identify the change on court quick enough. And that's a learning factor. They'd need to be a lot more mature and been around the game a lot more to be able to do that. It's only playing it over years that you get it.
Yeah, definitely. And then when you come off the quarter, then they can get you to give you your expert knowledge. Norma, what do you do to relax? How do you chill out?
Oh, I am known enjoying a couple of white wines here and there. But when I'm at home, you know, I'm just going out with friends, and, you know, I've got a few good mates that I worked at Adidas with for also 13 years. That was another great job I had. And we all catch up maybe about once a week. And then I have a happy hour with some local friends on a Friday night. So, you know, it's just relaxing. I don't run around doing a lot of netball at home now, not now. Although Netball Victoria did ring me about the new franchise. If they had got it, would I be there? And so I was quite, well, yeah, a bit chuffed that they actually still wanted me to come in and coach, but I said I could certainly be a part of it. But I'm not up for the everyday grind of a whole season anymore. I mean, I've done that. I don't need to do it anymore.
Like me, I don't think I've got the patience for that. I love the one-on-one stuff, but to take a team all the way through a season, that's a lot of work,
well,
isn't it?
it's your 6 o'clock strength and condition sessions. Well, I like to sleep in these days. So, you know, and because if I took it on, I would have to do it all. I wouldn't be able to seriously just, you know, not give it all.
Yeah. The South Africans, they love a little dance. They've got the groove. I'm loving all this singing that's happening in the stands, in the stadiums at the game day. Do the girls get you kind of go up and going?
Oh, well, they did in 2015. I know, yeah, 15. But that was quite funny because that was very early days. And, you know, we were in Australia and we'd been into New Zealand. We'd had a couple of games there, which they actually improved on, and then became into the team and into Australia. But I had said to Netball South Africa at that stage from taking one, I said, look, you know, your score lines of losing by 55, 35 goals against the top 4 countries in the world, we've got to lower those score lines and we'll teach them and get those down. And so at that first World Cup, I think they were running about 8th, and I said, let me pick the team I want, I reckon I can get you to 5th, which we got there. So they were doing everything right, and then every team had to do a dance. So I'm upstairs having a coffee and I get this call, would I please come down? The girls are, you know, they've got to do this dance and a video. And I said, well, that's all right. And the chap said, well, could you really come down? And so I went down, and then he said, but they'd like you to be in it. And I said, I'm not going to do that. No way. And I looked at their faces, and honestly, they were so disappointed. And I thought, oh, bugger it, I'm in.
You got
right?
in.
But there was no plan. He just said, right, girls, you go, and Norma, you go around the back and then come up the middle. I didn't even know what I was going to do. Well, brought the house down.
Look at Norma. She can do.
And so many people, I couldn't believe. Even Liz Ellis said to me, Plum, that's the best thing you've ever done. And then my daughter rings me and she said, Mum, that was great. And I thought, what? Right, I'm in. if they've both said that was okay, because, you know, I wouldn't have probably ever done it with the Australian team.
Exactly.
That was the funny thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's so lovely to see that you're getting in amongst it. And the legend that you are, like I say, we won it for Australia as a coach, as a player, and you're still just mixing in with the players. And that's the leader of Devil Wears Parada. Sometimes you get that name, but Norma Plummer, no, you are a beaut to work with.
But you've got to share the knowledge. I really get disappointed that it's like top 4 countries and we don't seem to strive. And I see what Africa has. I see those players, and you think, my God, if they had all of the back support that, you know, the top teams have, we might never touch the ball. And I'm looking at Jamaica at the moment, and they've got Rob working with them. But they've had that team there for a while now. I think this one, if they don't win it, I don't know when they'll win it, because they're absolutely primed to take this at the moment. Whether they get across the line, that's often been the downfall with them.
Indeed. Oh, well, thank you so much, Norma. There you have it. Norma Plummer saying, Jamaica, it's theirs to lose. Catch all the games from the Netball World Cup on Sky Sports, and go to #OffTheCourt to see all our daily interviews with many players and coaches from this competition. Norma, we normally end with a little thing from our coaches. Can you give us the many faces of Norma Plummer? So first up, happy Norma.
Yay!
Next, upset Norma. Next, sad Norma.
Oh, I don't think I can do that one. I'm never sad. Only when my daughter upsets me, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Sky Sports. Feel it all.